with your fucking evidence, dude, and stop talking about this whole meta conversation, dude. Just get on with your evidence.
Okay, well, can I tell it over voice?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Stop talking about the other thing and get on with it.
Thank you. Well, then tell them to shut up and tell me.
Dude, just go
Yeah,
on.
get the fucking part, you piece of shit.
Oh my goodness.
This is Rocky.
So I've already said this. And this is what I've done. And y'all.
Oh my God! Quit bitching and get to the evidence.
Pyro stats. That helping.
All right. Just let me know when y'all can control yourself for 30 seconds.
Just go on, dude.
You're telling me to go on? I've tried.
Yeah, whenever you hear no one talking, that's when you start telling your evidence. Yes.
As soon as I start talking, someone else talks. Kosho, are you listening?
So stop talking about it and just get on with it.
So over a flat surface, preferably water, because it seeks its level when undisturbed. We all know this. This is not going against science. Then you can create a data point and you can create your own data. I did 1.5 feet above the water. Okay? That first data point just starts the test. You're only creating a horizontal line from that data point. When you do that over water, then you can, however far you go, 500 foot, a mile. I went almost 3 miles. Now, for the first mile, we did 200 and 300 foot, depending on if there was a branch in the way, blah blah blah. But because we were by the shoreline of a lake, and when we did this over almost 3 miles, now I'm gonna admit that after we got 1.5 miles and people were going back and double checking the work and measuring drop from horizontal, and there wasn't any. Then when we got over 1.5 miles, we started going 600 and 700 and 800 foot with our stakes because we weren't finding over 1 mile. We should have 8 inches, is what we're told. We didn't get anything. It's like 1/4 of an inch. Over almost 3 miles, we had at the max. Now we had some plus and minus 3/4 of an inch drop from horizontal, and what we attributed the end data is what you want to call it, which was, let's say, a mean of 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, plus or minus, was due to some slight wind that it picked up late in the day, because this took a long time to do. A lot of effort. It sucked. Right? Boats, theodolites, lasers, people. Seemed like a fun thing to do in the water, right? Seemed like a fun day. It wasn't. It sucked. But when we created a horizontal the best way we knew how, and measured drop from horizontal to the water surface, which we believe to be level and horizontal itself, there was no drop from horizontal. Now, you can do all the calculations you want and get all your data points and how much fall there should be or whatever, what the middle should rise and all that over 2 miles or 3 miles. There was nothing.
You can't get evidence over voice check, you fucking idiot.
Give me 10 seconds. Most of our variants plus or minus.
Evidence
Give me 10
over a voice
seconds
chat,
and I'll be done.
You idiot.
Give me 10 seconds. Most of our variants plus
You've
or minus.
had 4 minutes.
Oh my God.
Keep trying.
The biggest problem I had with what you said is that you did not supply any data. You only said what you did. You did not show me the controls that you were using or how the accuracy of your equipment, where this was performed, photographic evidence of your experimentation, none of that stuff. That's required for science. You need all of that stuff. So if you've got
here's the whole thing that makes this thing dead in the water. Here's the thing that makes it dead. He explained this experiment to us before, and what he did was at every stake, he would reset up his auto level and sight a new horizontal, and then go to the next stake and sight a new horizontal. That's what you said the first time. And we called you out telling you that's a bullshit test.
I did not ever say I did it at every stake. You are wrong, sir.
Oh, so you just did it most of them.
Yeah, there you go. So you want to change your story now?
You said, I don't remember. Look, I'll be honest. I don't remember. I don't remember if you said every stake,
so then
but you
why
definitely.
Are you talking about it?
Because you definitely said that you were going down the line and you were setting up your auto level between the stakes and shooting a new horizontal.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But it wasn't every stake. We established
Sure.
3 and 4 and 5
I
stakes
think
at
you
a
said,
time.
yeah, but you were setting up at the
Yeah.
3rd or 4th stake and shooting a new horizontal to see if they're flat, right? Or that was the
Sure
claim.
you do, because if you do it more than that, over 3 or 4 or 500 foot, you start getting inaccurate. When you can
Right.
set a horizontal over 300 or 400 foot and then go back and shoot that, and then create another horizontal over 300 or 400 foot, and then go back and double check that, it's horizontal, sir.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
exactly. So the experiment is bullshit
exactly,
because every
horizontal.
time you go to that 4th stake and then you run that auto level, the little crystal, the little weighted crystal inside that auto level will find a new horizontal that's perpendicular to the gravity vector of the Earth.
No, I'm
which would
finding
then
horizontal to the
create
tops
a
of 3 or 4
curving-
different stakes.
A set of curving segments. So what you did is you created a set of curving segments.
Well, that's what
You might have straight sections that are 2 or 3. You might have straight segments that are 2 or 3 or 4, however many posts or pylons flat. But then as soon as you go and set that up again and shoot a new horizontal, you're creating curved segments that follow the curvature of the Earth.
I'm fine with you saying that. But when you go to, let's say, the 10th stake and then shoot back to the first stake, and it's the same, right? It's the same. It's horizontal. There's no difference in the measurement. And then when you measure, when you do that over a long distance, creating the horizontal as you go, and then do it over a long distance and shoot back, and it's the same, and then measure drop from horizontal from the horizontal line you created, and there is no drop, that's the best I can do. If you can do it better, I'm all for it, man. I'll do it with
I'm curious about this, how you did that without the inaccuracies that you previously said there were.
What do you mean without inaccuracy? I mean, you got to imagine now you're nailing stakes into the water. That, you know, the water was different depths, 2 and 3 foot. The stakes are 4 and 5 foot long, so you're trying to get them. You know, you're using lasers. You're in the water. You're on a jet ski. You're on a boat, but you're shooting the top. You know, of these. You're shooting the top of the stake. You're not making a mark. We were making the tops the horizontal point. And it doesn't matter if you put it a foot above the water, 2 foot, a foot and a half, a foot and an inch. As long as the tops are the same, then every stake should be a foot and a half or a foot, whatever you made that first one. If you made a horizontal line, then you're either going to get a curve, which the y'all say the middle point, which is ludicrous if you think about it, because you can change the middle, like you can make it longer and the middle point would have to go higher, which is crazy in itself. But you would say that my midpoint, the water would be higher there than each end. How does the water know where your ends are going to be when you're creating
your
these?
sights.
No, sir. No, sir. It has no. It doesn't know. It doesn't care what's under you.
Do you
That's
think
what people
you
say
just
when they're
answered my
saying-
question, though?
He doesn't know how to answer questions. He doesn't know how to gather reliable evidence. Anecdotes
Okay, so
are some of the lowest
your
qualities of
question
evidence,
again.
and that's all he's given us for the last 5 minutes.
Ask your question. That guy probably hears because he sounds new. He probably hears me trying to be as honest as I can. The other guys they don't care. They, you know.
Oh no, we've all heard this story a million times, and it gets better every time.
Oh,
it's
here
like
you go. No name, which is definitely never done any of this. We'll be here to tell you how
No, I've listened to this story grow over the past year or two, and it gets more elaborate. And your style gets more evangelistic every time. Tell me, guys, did he miss a golden opportunity to be a Baptist preacher?
Oh, attacking my religion again.
Hey guys, let's reach down deep in your pocket, plant your seed.
Guys,
come on,
this guy's trying to ask us
y'all hear this guy? Kosho, you want to let that go
dude,
on, right?
stop talking to me for a second. I'm talking to him. You're interrupting me. Okay? I'm telling him that this guy's trying to ask you honest questions. So why don't we let Great Angelo finish up whatever he was asking you. But just keep your points succinct.
The only thing I wanted to say, Rick, it's a nice story and everything, but the data is missing all of the information of how you set up your stakes and all that stuff. I just would like you to cite it. Do you have it published somewhere where I can go look at it, where I can look at the what you did for this test, so I can at least duplicate it? Because that's where the science comes in. If I can duplicate your test based on all the parameters that you did and perform it and come up with the same results, we have something we can talk about.
And what's your name again, sir? I can't see your lighting up. Like
Angelo.
I'm sorry, D'Angelo.
Great.
Oh, I see
Great
it. Now.
Angelo.
I see it. Your avatar is green, so the green light doesn't flash as good.
Yeah,
so now let me, because you sound new and honest. You're not attacking me personally. You hear how they do. So my test that I've described, right? Do you think you could duplicate that? Forget about my data. Do you think?
Well, I need your data. That's
no,
the problem.
Forget about that part. Just for a second.
Why would I forget?
No, well, let's say you're going to go out and do the same test. You're not going to try and duplicate my test. You're going to go out and do a test of your own using this method.
No, that's not how it works.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking him.
I'm going to come back with the same answer.
Me and you, okay, you and I are going to go tomorrow and do this test, and we're going to start fresh.
That's not how it works.
What did I do wrong?
Let him talk. Let him talk.
Okay, I don't know what you did wrong, and I'm not saying you did anything wrong. What I'm asking you to do is give me the parameters of your test, everything that you did in that test, because science works like that. You basically have the same conditions duplicated somewhere else in a different lab without any bias whatsoever. All I want is what your results were, how you did your test, how you performed the test and everything. I'll try to create the same situation over at my lake or wherever I'm going to do the test. And if the same results come in, we have something to talk about. We can start working towards your theory or towards your hypothesis. But if I can't,
you have more than enough information to go do this over your local lake. And this isn't a scientific experiment.
You don't think I don't think you understood what I did test.
I don't think you understand then. Because
all right, let me take a stab at this.
He's in the middle of asking him a question.
I yield to Smooth. Go ahead, Smooth.
Okay, yeah. I'm just trying to take a stab at this. When you ask us if a test is repeatable, right? What it's saying is that if you give us every single occurrence that you observed, and we make all the same occurrences, we should be able to get the exact numbers, right? That's a repeatable experiment. That's all. Is that if you carefully write down what you did and what you observed, we should be able to do the exact same thing, unless there's a particular climate that's needed, and then we should be able to travel to that climate and still get the same result.
Yeah, but this isn't a scientific experiment. This is something that anyone can go do.
Wait a minute. What'd you say? It wasn't a scientific?
Not a scientific experiment. No, it's just.
You're not proving anything.
What are you talking about?
Scientific experiments don't necessarily need to be something that nobody can go do. Oftentimes, scientific experiments are things that anybody could do.
This wasn't in a lab.
A scientific experiment does not have to be in a laboratory. All you have to do is control for different factors that could affect your outcomes. Anybody can do a scientific experiment.
Okay, Rekia, I'm going to try to put it to you very politely. I want you to understand that I'm very, very much in the field where I test everything. I have to. Good. And I expect people, when I give my data out and my results, to do the same tests. And if they want to change variables in another test to see if they can get me pointed in the right direction, because I might be wrong and my data is wrong and it can't be reproved, it can't be redemonstrated, then I'm willing to go back and start all over and just, that's the way science works. And you told me just now that it wasn't science that you're doing. And I don't, what would you call it then? If it's not science.
A test or observation. Are you a scientist?
Yeah, science is observation. That's one of the most important foundations of what.
Well then, I did science, but I didn't do a scientific experiment.
Oh, you have to tell me all the parameters of your observation. How you made your observation.
I'm observing the sun right now. Am I doing science? I'm literally looking at the sun.
If you make a hypothesis and says, "Hey, that's not hot," yeah.
I think we're. Let me ask you a simple question. Could you go do this test under your own, using your own data tomorrow? knowing what you know.
If you get not with what you told me, no, because I have no idea
Well,
what
why
you did.
not?
I mean, I have no idea what you're trying to get, and I think the point of the fact that you're making basically straight little lines that eventually are going to start curving because
No,
you keep
not straight
resetting that
little
level.
lines, a horizontal. Do you know? Have you ever used a theodolite, sir?
Horizontal lines, okay, whatever you want to call it, they're going to eventually
Have you ever used
curvature
a
to them.
theodolite, sir?
I have not used one.
What about a laser?
Does that
Like a small? No.
Of course
Hey, I don't want to
laser.
get personal. I'm just asking you if you know. How do you know how to do my test or know how to say I didn't do it right if you've never used these things?
All the information of
What does the data have to do with it? I told you the data.
What equipment did you use? I even asked you. I said, what equipment do you use? What accuracy is your equipment, calibrated to, and so forth. All that information I need to know, so I can basically redo the test.
Mm-hmm.
That's not unreasonable to ask. That's basically what everybody would ask you if they wanted to redo the test.
Yeah, I agree. If you wanted to duplicate my exact test and try and use the same equipment and over the same lake, yeah, but that's not what we're doing. You're going to go on your own lake, set your own stake, and then create a horizontal, and then try and measure drop from horizontal. Doesn't matter what my data was.
I think we can agree to disagree.
I'm not even asking you to trust my data.
Okay, I think we can agree to disagree that what you're doing, what you say you're doing, is an experiment, and I'm saying no. If you can't give me the information of your experiment and allow me to retest it, then your experiment ends.
Just
at the
said
point
it wasn't an experiment.
No further than that. It doesn't go any
openly
further
and
than
blatantly
your.
said it wasn't a scientific experiment. I think it's just an observation. It's just a test. I wanted to test the horizontal, the level of the water.
Hypotheses based on your observation, right? And I want to duplicate the observation to see if I can follow and support your hypotheses. That's basically what I'm trying to do.
Go do it.
Ricky, do you have any pictures whatsoever?
Yeah, I had a video up for about 2 years ago when I first started my channel. It was under Dave Gafford when y'all doxed me and called my church and my bosses. So I took the video down, and plus my family members and friends were in the video. So yeah, I took that channel down or that information down.
Did you take any stills, or can you take stills from the video instead of posting the whole video? You can take snapshot frames from the video to post in here. That wouldn't be doxing anybody.
Yeah, I've posted a lot of stuff. Yeah,
but that'd be CGI, Jake, and we don't take no kind to CGI.
Have you posted the shots from that experiment?
Have I? Yeah, there was the whole day was basically up. Now it wasn't a continuous video because it was like 8 hours of freaking.
And for the record here, you never cited from the first to the last on your auto level, right?
No, because it was like almost 2 miles. I mean, almost 3 miles. So no, I wouldn't do that for accuracy. But we did do like quarter mile and half mile just to see, and it was pretty accurate on that day. But if you go on different days, like I do this, on a daily basis. If you do that on different days, some days it's going to be kind of accurate, and some days it's going to be way off, and it's due to conditions.
What is he calling kind of accurate and way off?
Well, I can post one. Let me post something. Like, since y'all like data.
But the weather conditions don't change where the ground is.
The weather conditions don't change where the ground is. Yeah, but when you're looking through optics and taking a measurement, the weather conditions affect it greatly over distance.
Yeah, but when you do a geodetic survey,
but actually it happens. That's reality.
But because it was a geodetic survey that actually measured through triangles what the layout of the land does. And all of those triangles, the internal angles equal greater than 180 degrees, which cannot occur on a flat Earth.
Let me show you.
We're going to need you to can down, philosopher. Okay, we're on a particular topic at the moment, and we don't really need to go off in other directions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, he's talking about geodetic survey.
All right.
I'll show you what a geodetic survey would view over 2.7 miles on a certain day.
To be honest, I'm interested in what actual tools that you used so that we could actually
we had lasers
do it
and
ourselves.
theodolites. Yeah.
Does he even remember what tools he used?
Well, Dave, you
if I
mentioned
have the same.
going out like 10 stakes and citing back to the beginning.
Yeah.
You talking about like 1,000 feet?
It would be a random. I mean, because some of our stakes would be 100 foot, some of them would be 300, some would be 250. We didn't make each one 100 foot because there was no reason to do that. Plus, there was
Yeah.
So it'd be
obstacles.
greater than
Okay,
1,000?
Let me ask you
Yeah,
this.
some of them would. Yeah.
Are you
Some of them
familiar
would be
with
more
what?
than 1,000 foot. Yeah.
Are you familiar
Not
with
stake
what
to
the?
stake. Not
Yeah, hold on.
there were stakes in between, is what I'm saying. I'm sorry, Curve. Because he asked. There
I
would be
know.
at 1,000 foot. There would be stakes in between, but we would shoot. From one stake to one, it might be 1,000 foot, and it would be almost the same horizontal. Like there wouldn't be on that day. We were getting good clarity on that measurement, but when we were going over that, it was getting fuzzy. Was what I want to say. It was getting off.
So
All right.
Some would be high, some would be low. You know what I'm saying?
Would you be willing to post that information?
Yeah, hold on, Cabouse. Also, I think Curve better follow up.
I just posted it. I just verbally posted it.
Great Angelo.
Hold on, guys.
I
Curve
just
isn't-
want to get this information.
Go ahead, Kerr.
Dave, are you?
Yeah.
Do you know what to expect as far as the globe model is concerned? Know what to expect to drop from tangent would be, or drop from horizontal over 1,000 feet.
It's
Just
not much at
geometrically
all.
and using standard. Do you know how little it is? Do you have an idea?
I can compute it, but it's not much at all.
Like a third of an inch geometrically, about a quarter inch.
Maybe a quarter or half,
With
something like that.
just
I mean, like you said, it's not
standard
much.
refraction. About a quarter inch with standard refraction.
Yeah, I'll
only.
get whatever you
Over
say. I know it's not much. If you say it's a quarter, I'll believe you. I mean, it's not much.
Yeah, it is. It's a paltry amount, which is one of the problems with using this particular method to be a way to distinguish between curved and flat. You know what I mean?
I agree, and that's why I'm asking for alternatives. Because y'all have basically told me that my test is invalid, right? Because if y'all want to call it leapfrog or whatever, it's not actually leapfrog, and it's front to back and leapfrog. But
okay,
y'all are saying doing that over 300 or 400 foot and establishing a 2 mile, 3 mile deal is following the curve of the earth. So okay, what's the alternative?
Hold on, man.
You want an alternative, and here's a very simple alternative. You take two powerful lasers, and you have two light receptors.
Not simple.
And you place and you place these over a shallow body of water, which has found its level, a mile apart, exactly at the same height, and then sight those two lasers in on each other. Okay. So the one laser is hitting the light receptor of the first laser, and the other laser is hitting the other receptor a mile away. So you've got two lasers, each sighted in on each other. Now, you take just a piece of white cardboard on a stick. You place that white cardboard in between those two lasers, right? So you're blocking off the light from each of them. Now, where those lights hit on that cardboard, when you measure to the level of the water, on the globe Earth, that should be higher than the level of your lasers at both ends.
I get your point.
Yeah.
So let me throw a little wrinkle in there.
Flat Earth says that where the light hits, then those points of light on both sides of the cardboard should be the same height from the water as the lasers are.
Okay, let me throw a little wrinkle in this because I don't have two lasers, so I've never done that test. But I know I'm familiar with setting up transits and lasers. Getting two different transits or two different lasers on opposite ends of, let's say, a mile. I'm sorry, my battery is, but perfectly horizontal with each other. Like, you understand what I'm saying? level, like leveling those transit on two different spots a mile away from each other, or is impossible?
This is why I'm saying you would have light sensors on each side where the lasers will actually, you put a little tube in front of the light sensors, so that you can exactly have that laser lined up with that light sensor, and then do the same thing at the other end. As close as, damn it, good enough for government work.
I understand, but government for government work over a mile, if you're just a fraction of an inch off on leveling your laser, then it's going to point up or down.
I was saying this humorously, but the thing is that if you have the light sensor and you've got the laser light impinging on that light sensor, you can basically go, that's a straight line. The other side, doing it the other way, also would be a straight line. Then all you do is, in the middle of it, the half-mile marker, put a piece of cardboard on a stick, and then measure the height of where the lights on both sides hit that cardboard. And if it's above the height of both lasers pointing at each other, then it would be an indication of a glow burst. If it's the exact same height, it would be an indication of a flat Earth. Fair?
Or you don't have your lasers at each end level. I mean, come on, man. I wouldn't even take that as flat Earth proof, right?
There is a slight problem with the laser experiment. I hate to say.
Besides the one I just pointed out.
Well, it's because that just the refraction over the water, the laser light is also going to be affected by that, and also there's the coherence of the laser over a mile. You could buy a $200 laser pointer, and over a mile, that's going to shine over a spot that's probably about 1 foot in diameter.
Thanks for
and
your help with that one,
leveling a
but
laser.
you don't need to use a laser to do that test. You can use a camera or auto level, or whatever kind of level you want to use. Use two of them pointed at each other. Point one directly at the other one at the same altitude. They're both at the same altitude. Point one directly at the other one from some distance, and you try to point the other one so that it's level as well. Because pointing it at that one, it should be perfectly level and pointed at it. This one you also want to make perfectly level and see where it points, but it's not going to point directly at the other one.
And my argument still stands, making them both perfectly level. And then also, here's the problem we run into. When you use that test over a certain distance that you could measure curvature, then you're getting out of the range of the accuracy of the equipment. When you do it less distance, then you're getting out of the range of being able to measure Earth curve accurately. So it's a snafu. I agree. It's hard to do. I'm not in disagreement that maybe my test is wrong and y'all's test is wrong and all that. It's hard, right? Like the point I just made, when you go using these optics over a mile, then you have all kind of things that come into play. When you use them over 1,000 foot, then how do you know if you're measuring Earth curve or not? So curved is right. It's not within the realm of accuracy to know for sure either way. And Curve didn't say that. I'm sorry to put words in his mouth, but that's what I'm saying. You can't measure it either way. The only way that I see it is creating a horizontal, the best way you know how, over water, which I know to be level. That's what I believe, and then test that theory.
And if you can make a horizontal, you can do the test in the picture I just posted and just described to you. It's going to be much easier to make it horizontal and using the same.
Water is level all the way around the globe.
Yeah, curved level. If y'all want to talk about that, we can.
Except it's not.
That's why I'm using horizontal. I'm not using
the water level is at two different. So the sea level on one side of the Panama Canal is higher than the other side.
Yeah, that's due to salinity and some other factors. Yeah.
No, then okay. If that's hang on. If that's your claim, if that's your claim, please demonstrate.
That's not my claim. That's not my claim. That's science claims that.
You just made that claim.
Level?
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be level on both sides?
If it's the same salinity, all the factors being equal, it would be.
Well,
but
So
it's
show
not.
me how salinity can change sea level.
I'll let you do that yourself.
You made a
You can
claim.
research it
What you
yourself.
did was, actually, what
You
you've
want
done
me to
is,
go find a citation? You can go do it yourself.
yeah, what
Come
you've
on.
done is, if you've listened to Lindenberg, I've heard him
No,
say
I
that.
didn't get that. I don't know who Lindenberg
It's complete
is.
nonsense.
I've researched this. Why mean sea level is different.
At any
Lindenberg,
rate,
whoever you're
that
talking about.
indicates that that it's not flat. If the water was flat, if it always quote unquote finds its level,
I never
then
said the
sea
sea
level
was
would be
flat, sir.
uniform.
I never said the sea was flat. It hardly ever is because it has forces working on it. I'm just saying it's not curved around a ball. I'm saying undisturbed water is flat and level.
But it's not.
Yes, it is.
If you're
I'm just
eating
explaining how
fish,
they're different sea levels.
That's why.
Not even a few miles apart.
Because seas have different factors.
Okay, but there's still water, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're affected by tide, wind, salinity, pressure, different temperature variances. I don't know what else to tell you, brother.
If large bodies of water don't curve, why would there be a tide? The water would have to curve to make the tide, wouldn't it?
No, there's like 10 different ways there could be tides, but I mean, that's all speculation.
Also, if large bodies of water don't curve, why can I curve water at such a small level? Why would something, a substance at a small level, be able to curve and act however I want, free to my manipulation, but not a large body of water?